Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this.
Thanks to, butterfly effect, deja vu. Javon Quinly hits a game winner in the exact same place that he hit a game winner the game before. Like, I need to know how many times that has happened in the history of college basketball,
Hey,
2 games in a row in the same spot.
John, you're a Memphis guy, so I got to ask you this question. I heard a rumor the other day that that JQ got a NIL deal with a wheelbarrow because that's the only way that he was able to carry his balls around campus. They were so big, he has to put them in a wheelbarrow and push them around. Back-to-back game winners, guys. Back-to-back game winners. Man,
in
look,
the same spot. That's crazy.
I root for him. I root for him for a lot of reasons. I think that he got the short end of the stick, right? What did you say? The shit end of the stick when RC had to talk to me? Yeah, that's what JQ got when it came to like the FBI investigation. He ends up at Villanova, which is just like the wrong fit for a dude that plays his style. He sits out a year. He gets to Alabama. He finally gets his chance. You get to the NCAA tournament and he blows out his knee. And he comes back and it doesn't work out the following year after that. And it feels like he's found a place that works for him, where it works with the coach and it works with the team. And he's got a chance to have a really, really good year with a really, really good Memphis team. So I'm happy for him. This is awesome to see. I got nothing but good things to say about him and the way that he plays. He is an incredibly fun player to watch when he's in his element. And I think that Penny allows him to be in his element. Let's go, JQ. I loved it, man. That was awesome. Back to back 3 same shot game winners, man. Let's go.
Crazy. I mean, I got to know how many times that's happened in college basketball. RC, you've called this team. You've seen them up close and personal. You know, they had a couple of games there after the Virginia game where, you know, they played around with Austin P. They played around with Vanderbilt. They played around tonight. How long do you get away with that? Or is that just a function of, you know, you're kind of, it's the new year, it's the finals week, it's holidays, it's, you know, just how do you sort of separate what Memphis really is versus sort of this time of the schedule? Just as someone that's seen them, what do you make of just their performance the last few weeks?
It's always hard, man. When you're dealing with finals, you're dealing with gaps and breaks and practices, Christmas break. Like like coaches don't know when the kids. Let's be honest. I can tell you this as from a former player and coach players that I ask them this. When them kids go home for Christmas, they ain't getting in the gym. They ain't picking up a ball. Half of them just sitting at home for a couple of days, just kind of hitting the break. You may get a few that may get in the gym, but most of your kids just sit at home, particularly the ones that travel, right? So you come back, then they got to get back into things. So that's part of the adjustment. But with this team, they're built on a defensive end. The only thing that concerned me about them today was I thought SMU for the first half, they out Memphis them. They were a tougher, more physical team. They just were all over. And I thought that's what Memphis does to people. And you could tell they were challenged. They just couldn't hold up. Memphis comes out the second half, totally flips it, and just shows you what they're capable of. Tomlin seems to be still trying to figure it out. I mean, he got there literally right before I think his next game, right after the UVA game. He's still trying to figure out his role. They put him in. They're playing the big lineup with him and Dandridge. That worked well for him today. They're both mobile enough and skilled enough to play off each other. So that'll be interesting to see how they do with that going forward. And when you got that backcourt, man, when you got Quinterly and Jones, you're going to be in every game. So they're going to be there when it matters most. Yep. I think as they just got to get more comfortable. I would challenge their leadership a little bit more and be like, guys, let's come out against opponents when they get in the conference and take care of business and stop, relying on Quinterly to bail them out with threes. But they played 2 tough games. I mean, Tulsa is a solid team, and SMU, I think, is really good and a tough team.
Well, I would say this, just obviously being here, I think this is sort of the peril sometimes of when you have to replace, and you do replace 8-9 guys, granted, all upperclassmen, but you're bringing them together and there's no necessarily, continuity, fluidity, familiarity with each other. And, the question I was asking at the half was, who's going to reach down and pull this team out of this? Who's that going to be? And is everybody going to sort of agree with that? And I think that's ultimately it worked out tonight. It was in Memphis, and I think that's, a little bit more conducive to that happening. But, what if this was at SMU? What if this was at Tulane. I think these are, sort of the games that decide that. And is it that obvious? I thought there was some real selfishness in the first half, some real, me, not moving the ball, not reversing the ball. This is instructive because you won, and that's a great thing. Memphis is consistent. When you start handicapping this race, FAU is not. FAU is not finding ways to win against lesser talented teams. They've got losses to FGCU. They've got losses to Bryant. So I think that's sort of the thing for Memphis is, can you remain consistent, when shit hits the fan and you don't necessarily know that much. And that's college basketball in general, right, Rob? I mean, you're dealing with a sport where it's sort of like you're hiring guys here and there in a given year without the familiarity with your school, and you got to figure it out.
Yeah. So the difference between Memphis and FAU to me is that the guys at Memphis I feel like they've been in the spotlight more, right? Like Javon Quinly was a McDonald's All-American, a top 20 recruit. Like every game that he's played since he was like 16 years old, the dudes on the other team were like, that's Jahvon Quinerly, right? That we're going up against him. He's been a target since he was playing in high school. When you go to Memphis, everyone knows that Memphis is Memphis, right? It is like a top 25, top 30 program in the sport. It's got Penny Hardaway as the coach. You're playing in FedEx Forum. It's been the one of the top 2 programs in the American for like 10 years now. So they've always been a target. It's always been a big game for everybody. You go there, you know what to expect. You know that teams are going to come out for you, right? The kids at FAU have never experienced road games as the storm the court team. Right. Yeah, it was cool when they were like 34-3 and they were playing in Conference USA, where Conference USA also had a North Texas team that had just made a run of the tournament and had a UAB team with a kid named Jelly Walker that was averaging like 24 and looked like they were going to be able to make a run. Like that was a really, really good and balanced Conference USA that had other powerful programs. FAU is like was in the cellar when a lot of those kids committed and decided to go there. Right. And now they've made this run to the Final Four. They are the storm the court game in the American, right? You go play at FGCU, right? The court gets stormed. That place is sold out. It is an arena that holds like 2,000 people, and there were probably 2,500 people in there. I guarantee they're all drunk. I guarantee they're all yelling really inappropriate stuff. I guarantee that it might not be big, but that's an intimidating environment. Then you go and you play on the road at Charlotte. You get down 19-4, and you get the court stormed on you because Charlotte builds everything around. We got FAU coming to town. We got the team that made the Final Four. We got this top 20 team that was in the field of 68 tip-off, right? They get all this attention. They got all these guys. We want to beat them. They're now the storm the court game. And RC, you could probably speak to this better than us, but when you go from being really good to being the team that every single other opponent builds their schedule around, it says we got a chance if we beat them. It is a very different thing. And I think the slow starts from FAU is proof to me that they have not gotten ready for it. Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.